Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C-Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 89 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast, Adjunct Series. We are back after 6 episodes of the Link Up series, or season, whatever you want to call it. Go check that out, guys. There's a whole bunch of really fantastic conversations about diversifying the craft beer industry and the challenges associated with that. We had some really engaging and enlightening conversations with the breweries who participated in the last Link Up bunch of collabs. So we are back with the Adjunct Series, which is, always a fave for me because we can just talk to anyone and everyone about whatever we damn well please. So this evening, we get to sit down with someone who I only really discovered their brewery probably a month or so ago. I've been really enjoying all the beers that I've tried so far, and I'm super curious about the whole story behind it. So without further yapping, we're going to bring in Joanne from the Second Wedge. Welcome, Joanne. There we are. Thank you for joining me. Great to meet you. Me. Genuine pleasure. Like I was saying, yes, only I guess we were talking on Twitter not that long ago, and started seeing what you guys are doing. I'm loving your branding. I'm loving the approach. Got a ton of questions, so I'm excited to dig into that tonight. So, shall we crack this first beer?
We should, absolutely.
Tell us about this bad boy right here.
Well, so Electric Light is our first Pilsner and our first true lager that we've ever brewed. We've actually always done ales. Yep, and we did, we've done an Oktoberfest, a Reticent, and we've done a California Common, which is a bit of a in-betweener. So,
yes.
But this one was kind of a fun one. Our head brewer, Mike Lowndes, wanted to play around with some hop profiles to make it like a very, just slightly non-traditional Pilsner. So he used, the classic Hallertau middle fruit, but he also used Bar Rouge hops for just a little bit of aroma, and you get that berry quality. So yes. I think it's very lovely and quite elegant. The color is more of it's like a true golden. It's not super, super pale, but yeah.
Love it.
Nice head on it.
Yeah.
Lovely, delicate aroma. I love that
great.
Pilsner malt.
Yeah. Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.
Nice. Great cereal, like the real malt forward, which is awesome in the style. Did you say so? It was Hallertau Middlefer and Bar Rouge. Love it. Bar Rouge, you said berries. Is that the one that has, the French ones? They have, is that the strawberry hop, or am I confusing that with Belmont?
Probably more along the lines of I don't know, if it's more like cherry, blackberry. Yeah.
Interesting. That's fun. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I've never heard of, not that I can recall it, that hop in a Pils. I love that sort of innovation, switching it up. So it's simple. Yeah. So the Hallertau Middlefer is more the traditional one, like you said. That's probably more the herbal, grassy type of thing happening there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Floral, yeah.
The floral,
traditional
okay. Middlefer, I'm taking that note down. And what was the, obviously, trying to switch it up as you said, but what was the intention behind the berry notes and the sort of, like you said, cherry or...
it's also subtle because it's such a light palette to play with, right? So you really can't overpower. We didn't want it to be, a hoppy lager at all. So it's it's in the German style. So it's a German style Pilsner with just very delicate balance of flavors and just slightly new aroma and flavor from those different hops.
I love that. That's super fun. And this, like you said, this was your first real one. How's the response been to from?
It's been great. We only did we did a single batch, which for us is 15 hectoliters. And as soon as we brought it out, we were like, oh, we're gonna need to brew that again. So we've just already brewed a double batch, so that'll be coming out later in March.
Nice.
So we figure it'll be pretty popular. It's not something we're going to have as a year-round. It's just a fun seasonal to pop in, especially now we have the tank space that can sit for a while. The beer can sit for a while to spray. So in the summer that might not be possible.
I was going to say, particularly a style like this, that, you know, that hogs the space for a bit, which is kind of fun though, I guess. You know, breweries get to play with stuff a little more in the winter on these sort of low seasons, so you can do fun things like this that you normally wouldn't have time. I love that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. I love that. So this is, we were talking earlier about this, and this was one that was brewery only for now. Is that correct? Or it's not going to be distributed, hence the, I love them where you can tell that it's got the silver bullet with the sticker, and then your other ones are wrapped fully that are more flagship. We'll get to those after. Am I accurate there?
Yep, absolutely. So this one will be only at the brewery. You might find it at some local area restaurants. It's pretty tight to this area, so
that's fun.
You have to come to Uxbridge to get it.
Yes, I love it. I definitely want to ask you more about that, because that was an area that I only knew about because my girlfriend used to go there when, you know, she was growing up in Toronto, and it was kind of like the cottage area. But I think the way that Toronto's grown out so much, it's not really that anymore. Yeah. So I'm super curious about the area. But before we even get to that, I'd love to know how you and your husband Rob got into beer, and how that sort of story came and led into the brewery itself.
Yeah, so I've always been into beer as a like a food item, I guess. I've always been passionate about beer, and like truly from a young age. I grew up in Montreal.
Nice.
So there
whereabouts?
was great beer there. What's that?
Whereabouts here?
Whereabouts?
Yeah.
I grew up in Dollard, the suburbs.
Oh, yeah, the DDO, whatever they call it. Yeah, West Island. Okay.
No, nowhere fun. But I went to school at Concordia, and it was the late 80s, so there was some really nice beer happening in Montreal at the time.
Yeah.
You know, relatively speaking, it was Labatt 50 or Saint Ambroise. So where did I go, right?
Yeah.
So I've just always been an interest in. We've always been into food and all that sort of thing. So we just started getting into brewery culture and started brewing beer at home, all the stuff. But as far as like opening a brewery, that's a whole. I mean, I could probably write a book about why we did it, right? Long story short, midlife crisis, you know, like exhaustion from what we were doing currently, and seeing things changing in the industries we were both in, and just needing to kind of like navigate our way to something better for the second half of our lives, basically. So, yeah, so that's it. We took kind of our passion for beer, our desire to be doing something closer to home, our desire to do something that would make our town better, more exciting, bring some life to town, bring what we love about beer to town, and just kind of like a personal creativity thing, I guess.
I love that. That's awesome. It's a big risk to take, you know, even if it is that sort of midlife pivot as you described it. But obviously it's paid off. And that was 5 years ago, from what I understand. Is that right?
We just celebrated 6 years open.
6 years open, I'm sorry.
So we opened in December 2015. So and there was 3 years of planning and pulling money together before that. So
of course, okay,
and
3 years of planning. Yeah.
Pardon?
I was gonna say 3 years of planning. That's serious right there. Okay.
Yeah, it actually doesn't feel like very long, because there was so much planning to do, and there was so much pulling together of money and stuff that had to happen in that time. So it feels like it all went at a breakneck pace. It was a very exciting period. I was working full time. Rob was working everywhere in the world. He was never home.
Right.
and we were like, got to do this brewery. Like it was just a consuming and all-consuming passion thing. So 3 years is pretty short to pull together from kind of nothing, I think. At least maybe nowadays it's easier and faster. I don't know, but it felt fast.
No, I feel that. From the people I've spoken to, I kind of, sometimes people luck out and it's 6 months, and sometimes I've heard, 5, 6, 7 years as well. So it seems to...
I mean, we didn't come from the brewing industry, right? We came from creative industries outside of brewing. We also did not have like wads of cash to just say, let's open a brewery. It was not
Right.
like that at all. So
No.
yeah, so there was a lot of work that had to go into it. But yeah, it's been worth it. It's been great. Definitely, we put our all into every little piece of this place, and we have great people here, and it's built up into something that we're really proud of.
That's awesome. So you said, so you chose the area, and I imagine you're the only brewery in Uxbridge?
Yes.
Yes, love it.
We're a pretty small town, so.
Small town, okay. And I checked it out recently, and I think it's about 45 minutes kind of northeast of Toronto, 45 to an hour, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
What's the region called? Is it like...
We're in Durham region.
Oh, it's under Durham. Okay.
It is Durham region, but you'd never know. I mean, we're quite far.
Right.
We're in northern Durham region, so Port Perry and Uxbridge are the northern part of Durham region.
Oh,
but we're pretty
okay.
close to, like, just 15 minutes to the west of us is York region.
Okay. All right. I get it then. I wasn't sure like how far up, if it was tapping into like Muskoka or something like that, but not quite.
No. So we're really in between. And this town has beautiful like natural landscape around it. And a lot of people use the trails around here. It's like a really well-known area for trails, but it doesn't have, at least it didn't have like a big tourism draw. It didn't have a lot of people coming through, to be honest.
Right.
For a long time, because it's not cottage country. It's more farms and golf.
Farms and golf.
And,
Okay.
it's like a lot of big open space, which is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous around here. It just hasn't really been. It wasn't really discovered at that point.
Okay. So then, being that you were the first brewery to open there and still remain the only brewery, was that a bit of a risk there, or do you think there was maybe a demand for it as craft beer was sort of starting to take off, and if locals didn't have somewhere they could just zip around the corner to go? Like, I can imagine that would be appealing.
Yeah, I think, and we kind of put it out there and really talked to our community as much as possible before we, like at every stage, we kind of like gauged interest, because it's a huge risk and a huge amount of money to invest in something if it's not going to work 100%. So we did know that the community was hungry for something like this, and we knew that it was a matter of time before somebody opened a brewery. It's it's a nice little contained town, and there's we figured it would happen eventually, and we were like, well, we know a lot about beer. We're really passionate, and it should be us. So let's make that happen.
I love it. Owned it. Where did the name come from, by the way?
Yeah, so the Second Wedge is referring to the landscape. So we're sitting kind of at a part of the Oak moraine, which is the hilly, beautiful landscape as you're coming up from Lake Ontario. It stretches all the way from Caledon, basically, all the way out to past Peterborough.
Right.
But it's in these like wedge formations, so there's higher areas of moraine, and the Uxbridge Wedge is the second of the four. Ta-da! It's a long story.
No, that's smart. I knew there'd be something behind it.
Yeah, we just wanted a story,
Yeah.
And we had other names picked out that we kept checking, and it was like, damn, someone else had that. Damn, someone's got a trademark on that. Okay, guess we're gonna go for something completely offbeat.
That's smart though, because that is definitely a problem. I've heard I know of a few of them I can think off the top of my head who have had to change their name. Because of things like that, where they didn't realize they went and started and did it, and then there was maybe one in the States with the same name who owned all the trademarks for North America, and then so you did the right thing. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, except
sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, except there's a brewery in the States called the Wedge Brewery that we discovered later, just Wedge, and they opened a second location. So sometimes we get tagged on people's posts as the Second Wedge.
That's hilarious. Well, I hope you get followers from that at least.
We're making new friends. It's great.
There you go.
Go down and visit one day.
That'd be cool. Nice little collab or something. That's fun. Yeah, I love that. Okay, sick. So then,
They don't write a cease and desist.
if they what?
If they don't write a cease and
If they
desist.
don't, fingers crossed we keep that under wraps then. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, right? Make friends with them. So the style of beers and the things. So to give people maybe a picture of what you guys do. I mean, I tried a few of them so far. Got to get into the rest, but I really liked that you had this quite a wide range of stuff. Which my guess, based on the type of things that you're doing, is probably aimed at the palate of the region, predominantly being that you've kind of got some of the, you've got IPAs, double IPAs, but you also had, obviously you had blonde, now you got the lagers and stuff. You had some Belgian styles, kind of, I think it was like a mix. I mean, I'd love to hear sort of what the aims were to know who you were aiming at, what you were trying to sort of portray with the products themselves.
I mean, primarily we're making beer that we want to drink ourselves. We want it to be beer that really fits into a meal and pairs with food and is not like dessert. I mean, we have had some fun sort of desserty type beers, but we're not trying to like the beer we want a beer that you enjoy from start to finish. It's very moreish, super balanced, nothing too outrageous. It's kind of like the beer that we want to drink. It's the beer that you like go off and have fun with, sours and milkshakes and whatever out there. Lots of great breweries do them. We don't. And you can come back to us and have, that old, reliable, amazing, like nothing we do is boring and nothing we do is bland. Everything we do has tons of flavor and we work really hard to keep it really fresh. So, we feel very proud of what we put out as delicious, exciting beer, and we like to have a nice range of styles. So that's why you'll see, like, we just put out Derailleur, Belgian Double. This just came out today, so
nice.
That, and we'll do a pretty wide range of stuff. But we do it based on our own palates and what we want to be drinking ourselves, and the community has shown us that they're into that too. So yeah, we definitely don't chase trends.
Right.
Even though I love trendy beer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not kind of like what's true to us, I guess.
I like that. I think that's key. That you need to sort of make. I always find that the breweries who are making things that aren't true to them because they feel they have to, it doesn't really ring as authentic, and maybe they might miss the mark a little bit on that. So I think that's I very much align with that. I think it's the most important thing you can do. You just have to be you, because there's a million of the other ones doing those things. So like you said, it's definitely best to stick to what you love. Usually what I've also, is it like, do you find that the styles reflect the, I was gonna say, like the palette of the region? Maybe, like, I imagine you probably get a lot of people from the area, but you just described, I know of Port Perry, I know someone who lives there. I didn't realize that's where that was. So I imagine there's probably people sort of coming from all the sort of nearby towns, and obviously a lot more so in the summer when they're just coming to hang out or stay over or whatever. But is it would you say overall it's reflective of what people are asking for and sort of what the demand for stuff out there?
You know what, we kind of create it and then say, here you are, this is what we've made and we would love you to enjoy this. So we definitely get people asking, like, do you guys make any sours? Like, we have, Uxbridge is sort of about half people who have lived here forever and half people who are in the last 10 years moved up from Toronto.
Gotcha.
Like, very much so. So it's a pretty sophisticated area. I think what we're doing is just kind of putting out a variety that we love, of flavors that we love, and I wouldn't say that there's a specific palette. I mean, I think it's such a mix of people. I don't know that I would say that there's a regional thing. I think, and we're also close enough to, Whitby, where you can get just fabulous examples of styles of beer that we don't do. So why would we try to reinvent the wheel and do something that we're not as passionate about? So
love it. A great answer. So then maybe a better question then from my side would be what are the most popular beers or styles that you're making right now? And I know obviously you have flagships and you've got the like a beer like this one right now that's a like a brewery only, like a sort of specialty thing, as opposed to ones that'll go out to distro. But yeah, what are the most popular beers? Is it the flagships are the most popular, or like how does that go down?
They really are, yeah.
Yep.
Like I mean, Three Rocks is our IPA, and it's a really unique IPA. There's not a lot out on the market that tastes just like it.
Yeah.
So it has a real following. So it sells better than anything else we do. Yeah, and actually our Elgin Blonde is right up there too.
Okay.
It's a much simpler beer. Like that's total gateway beer. We all enjoy drinking it, but we'll probably pick up something with a little bit more complexity ourselves. But that one sells very well. Anytime we bring out a seasonal, obviously people go nuts for it.
Yeah, of course.
But Three Rocks is a big one for us. Yeah.
That was the yes, I definitely tried that. We're going to be having that one again shortly. The like a nice, like it's a West Coast IPA. I was trying to describe it.
It's so hard. It's not really a West Coast.
No?
Like it's partly a West
Partly
Coast
West Coast?
IPA, and it's partly West Coast. I mean, it does feature West Coast hops, yes.
Okay.
But we've been playing with the I'm not going to call it haze,
Yeah.
but the
Opacity.
opacity or whatever,
Yeah.
like we've been playing with that because originally it was kind of a clear IPA. It was very much more West Coast.
Right.
And then by accident, one of the batches came out with a lot more like turbidity, like a lot more suspended proteins,
Right,
whatever.
right.
So that batch tasted incredible. And we were like, okay, this is where we need to take this beer because it was like great, and then it was like, oh man, that's amazing. And then of course that kind of thing, it happened by accident. So it's been years trying to like fine tune how to actually consistently get that. So we've got this sort of like, it's got that nice body, and you get sort of hop flavor in the beer itself. It's hazy-ish, and then you've also got that sort of grapefruit, piney West Coast character. So it does, I find, straddle both worlds a little bit. And the hops that we use are not used by too many people. I find they have a very bright and bracing flavor that I totally love, and it's like a go-to. So yeah, I
like that. I love it when beers that are like something like flagships or long-term beers are like they morph and change with either with the times or with something like that, like a happy accident. The sort of switches. Yeah, I think that's super cool that you ran with it and embraced it as opposed to be like, no, it has to be like this. Like, no, this is great. Let's keep it going. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
cool. Thanks. That beer is Rob's like 100% favorite beer in the entire world, and when it's not just right,
he'll tell you.
we all lose sleep. There's been a lot of work done on it, like just subtle tweaks over the years, and we're feeling quite good about it.
That's awesome.
Like this year, great.
Yeah. That's great. So you have 4 flagships, is that right? Or was there more?
Yeah, so there's four year-round flagships.
Year-round,
So
okay.
I mean, really, so Three Rocks IPA. It's funny, like our beer selection that we started out with is kind of like what you'd expect at a little pub.
Right.
But because let's bring out like a range of flavors that will appeal to a lot of different palates, and then we'll kind of go from there and see where we want to play, right? So the Three Rocks IPA was our IPA from the very start. Elgin Blonde, like I mentioned, our blonde ale, which is named after a local pond.
Cute. Love it.
The only name that I really copped out. We just like, call it Elgin Blonde.
Nothing wrong with that.
And Three Rocks is named after a local trail. And then Rainmaker, which we're going to be drinking tonight. That's our porter. And Monday Night Piper, a Scottish style ale. So really, that one has like a cult fan base.
Really? I was about to.
It's a
Okay.
really lovely
Interesting. So I find that like I guess it would like Scottish style like Scotch ale or whatever. I feel like that's one thing I don't see very often. I was about to ask because I remember like is that something that people are like you said a cult fan base? Like what's the deal with Scotch ales these days? That's like I don't.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like an 80 shilling, so not like a Scotch ale. So it's more,
Oh,
it's
okay.
lighter body. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just so drinkable. The recipe is not a classic 80 shilling. It actually won an Ontario Brewing Award for alt
Nice.
beer.
Okay.
Obviously, it fell into that profile. But there was no category for 80 shillings, so
What's
and it
an 80
wouldn't have
shilling?
fit all of our beers. It's like a midway. It's kind of like the Scottish version of an ESB. It's like
Oh,
so
okay.
ranked by like so 80 shilling is a certain weight because that's how much it costs to whatever, like it's a money
To
thing,
make
right?
it.
But like the varying strengths of the beers, so it's not like a Scotch ale or
He's
wheat
like
heavy.
a
They get
we
very
have
big, very, yeah. But 80 shilling is a much. It's like a medium bodied. It's got a lot of like toffee character to it. It's got a nice carbonation, very pretty low hops. We add a little bit more hop bitterness than you would typically have in an 80 shilling, and it's super drinkable. It's super refreshing. It's like it takes the idea of an amber beer, but to me, it's way more interesting, complex, and refreshing at the same time.
That is fascinating. Okay, cool. I feel like there's a resurgence maybe of I'm seeing there's multiple types of beer nerds and there's one type of beer nerd that just loves and maybe this plays into the cult following that you're talking about. Like I feel like there's like this purist traditional passion that people seem to have for ESBs or like a British mild, which this sounds like it's in that realm. Is that accurate, Ben?
It's in that realm for sure, yeah. And it
Yeah.
is. We definitely took liberties with it. Our brewmaster at the time, Doug Warren, who created it, definitely took liberties with the style and used some very non-traditional hops and it is, but it really does appeal to those who miss those traditional beers. There's just not a lot of them out there right now. We're really, we've got a very I don't know. It just seems like the beer culture is getting flatter or something. So, like, I love that we have such a wide range of very different styles. Like, it it's good to have a wide range of flavors and remind your palate like there's so much to beer, right?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I know what you mean by flatter. I guess it's there's like a handful of styles that seem to dominate the pervasive beer culture. That's what most people want to drink. So it's almost like when presented with something that like I said, it was about 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was. I got into this. I did the traditional because I got into it in 2011 really properly, and then all the people who were getting into beer in the last like 2-3 years would have had a completely different experience because you obviously were long before I did, but you go through the flavor wheel. You start with blondes and lagers, and then move to ambers and brown ales and porters and stouts, and then maybe some Belgian, and you start doing all of that, and then all these new trendy stuff started coming in around 2016, something like that. So the people now are just going straight to sours, smoothies, milkshakes, New England, all that type of stuff, and don't really never got to experience the other stuff. Which is a shame because I think that's a part of the beer journey. Like I think it's like a pretty important thing to have that foundation to understand where it came from. Because but then there's like the pendulum swinging back, and people are, like I said, the same beer nerds I see drinking that stuff are like losing their minds over an ESB. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think it will. I think the pendulum swings like crazy. So we're going to stay constant with what we do and how we do things, and I like to teach people about beer, and so that's we're able to do that with what we offer, which is very nice. Would we make more money if we did just all hazies and sours? Probably. but there's enough of that out there. We'll we'll stay in our lane, right?
Yeah. No, I love that. That's awesome. That's really cool. Got me super curious about that. I don't think I've ever heard of the 80 shilling. If I'm not, I've heard of a 2 penny, which is like that second run, like it uses the second run of the malt or something. So it's like a lighter version of something heavier. But 80 shilling, maybe I had it back in the day or something. I haven't heard. So I think that's really fascinating that you're keeping that.
Yeah, you might have seen it written out. It's like you'd see the number 80 and like a slash rather than the word shilling. So maybe that's
maybe. I imagine, you know what, I probably would have in those earlier sort of beer days when I was like really just taking anything and everything to kind of figure out what this is all about. But I imagine it's probably not as prevalent as it used to be these days, which is fun. Which is like, I don't know, I like that. I like that approach, and I like that you're making things too. I found that everything I've had of yours is super drinkable, super approachable, and then what I would consider a gateway beer. And I think that the thing in beer these days, gateway beers and breweries are extraordinarily undervalued as far as the contribution to the overall growth of beer, because people don't always walk in the door trying to drink all the crazy stuff. Like, you need to sort of, they might come in, they used to, I drink Labatt, so what have you got? Let's limit to that. Well, try this blonde here. Like, oh, that's good, okay. Yep. And so on and so forth. And you walk them up the color wheel, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when we first opened, that was maybe the palette is expanding since we opened, because the very early days, that was what we got a lot of. People would wander in and be like, "What have you got that's like Coors Light? What's your red?" Like we get so much of that, and so we had something for them, which is great. But those people are now drinking whatever we have that's anything but like Coors Light. So I think we've helped to develop some palettes and get people into beer in this town, and now it's more sophisticated. So now we're like, let's play with some other styles. Let's do something different and fun. So
here for it. I love it. I think it's really, really cool. Shall we jump into the next one, the pale?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. My girlfriend isn't here, so I'm just going to run and grab it. So do you want to show the screen and just tell them about it? I'll be like 10 seconds, not even. Oh, no, you know what? She's got it for me. We're good.
Okay.
What color is that one? It's like pale orange. It's in order. Thank you.
Reticent?
Yes. Yes, tell us. Go for it, Joanne. Thank you so much.
Tell you about the beer? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So Reticent Fox is orange peel pale ale, so brewed with sweet orange peel.
Nice.
That's great. Yeah. Good focus. I can't make it as pretty
I
as that.
have a camera. I'm cheating.
So it's a fairly simple pale ale with a lovely fresh flavor. It's brewed with sweet orange peel, and we use Mandarina Bavaria hops, so that helps emphasize the orange flavor. It's subtle though. It's not like there's no like extract or anything. It's just a very subtle, fresh orange flavor.
Okay, I love that. Where did the idea to add? Sorry.
That's okay.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask about the actual orange. Thank you. Where the idea for the orange came from, because that's like a cool addition.
For the sorry.
Well, the orange. I'm sorry. The orange peel in a pale ale is super interesting.
Where did the?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I remember where that came from. I think we actually had an assistant brewer who made a clementine ale, and it was very nice.
Okay.
I don't even remember how this came about. It's pathetic.
That's
anyway, it's been very popular because it's just one of these lovely, sweet, slightly sweet, very delicate flavored beers.
I love it. Cheers.
Yeah, it's so nice, right? Cheers to you.
Mm.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, wait, hang on. This way. Cheers. Is this what's on my shirt here? I think it is, yeah?
Actually, no.
It's not.
So this is the Reticent Fox. And you've got the Coyote from our beer that we did called Wilder.
It is
so Wilder.
Yeah, it is.
They're like cousins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
same artist. So
very cool.
So the artwork, we do all beautiful artwork. Tracy Walker is a local artist who lives in Uxbridge. She's actually world renowned, I guess, for her illustration. She does a lot of commercial stuff and art stuff. So she does all the beautiful graphics for us on the
Love it.
cans, and yeah.
That is super cool. I want to get into that in a second too, because that's the one thing that struck me about your stuff immediately was I love, like, one of my favorite things ever is like the color blocking. I love color blocked beers where if you saw them all lined up, these will stand out. Like, it's cool when it's got different colors too, but there's something about this style that is just the same font, the same type of artist. Like, I love this. It's almost like a, I don't know, what would you call it, like an icon or something. Like, it's just so simple yet so damn effective. I just love this stuff.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get into that because I just feel like beer branding. We've talked about this a bunch on the podcast in the past, but my partner and I have a social media agency, so we're big with marketing and presentation. I found that historically, maybe not so much recently, but historically breweries didn't put as much effort into that as they did the product, which is fair, but it's a different world now, and I really appreciate the approach that a lot of breweries take with the art. So I love it. But this is great. This is like super chill. Like, I don't know where I would even place this. So it's like obviously pretty opaque, which is probably what you were referring to earlier as well with the 3 rocks. It's really approachable. I'm not getting much, and it's like I don't have to put it in a box. I'm always like thinking, okay, what is this? Is this intended to be New England? Is it like a West Coast? It's like this. Would you say this is a bit of a unique kind of thing, the approach to this beer?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
it doesn't really, it's got, it has, I'm trying to read the label. It has oats in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Oats in it for you have the creamy texture.
Yeah,
so that's
texture's
really
great.
nice. And then just that little sweetness. So it's just like a very simple, but I find everything works so well in it. Like, it's so
Yeah.
nicely balanced. Makes you want to take another sip. There's that little hint of, like, I wouldn't say sweetness, but it's certainly not bitter.
No, there's a touch of sweetness in here, but it's super subtle. I'd say it's obviously from the malt, not the orange peel or anything like that. Like, it's definitely not this overwhelming fruit bomb or anything. Like, not even close.
Exactly.
Mm.
And you could eat that with a meal,
Mm.
and it wouldn't overwhelm your food.
No,
like, that's,
no.
You know?
Yeah, no, totally. The citrus is just where it sort of needs to be. It's like super in the background, but you can tell, like, it's kind of like that pithy citrus, which is, but it didn't really, it doesn't translate to bitterness. Like, it's a little bitter, but like super subtle as well, which I really enjoy. Mandarin, I love that so far. Like, 2 for 2, you've done the matching the hops with because not everyone does that. I love that. Like, Mandarina is a great with the orange vibes on that, so it's perfect for something like this. Oh, and a bit of Centennial as well. Okay, it says here, which is great. Yeah, this is fun. So this one just came out as well, and same deal with the pills. It's brewed.
Yeah, so they came out on the same day. Reticent Box has been out before.
Okay.
Kind of took off like crazy last year during the pandemic, and this year it's in the LCBO for the spring seasonals, going out. So basically starting in March for the spring months, it'll be in the LCBO.
Love it. That's killer. Yeah, this is super interesting. I love it. Once again, really approachable, easy to drink, and I can absolutely picture having like a nice. I feel like if you got like sort of a nice super like, what's the word? Let's say salt, more savory. Something super like just a nice meal. Like, this touch of sweetness kind of like just cuts it out a little bit. I love it. Yeah, this is fun. What was I going to say before about that? Okay, so you got we'll talk about the 4 flagship, the artwork. That's where I want to go once we put this beer. So the art, like I was just saying, super cool. Yeah, talk about the approach to this. Like, was this is this how you came out with these type of designs, or did you sort of update it over the years?
We actually started from the very beginning we work with a graphic designer who kind of puts the whole package together, and then from the very beginning, so we worked with him, Russell Gibbs, amazing, and we wanted to work with the local illustrator, Tracy Walker. So we weren't quite sure how to make both of those things happen. I actually found Russell when I was like basically Googling all the artists in the world and all the graphic designers in the world, trying to find like what's our aesthetic, who's going to be the right person to present what we love. And he had a page. It was like, these are things that I love. And I was looking through them and they were resonating with me. And there was even like a picture of the cast of a show. I can't remember the name of the show. Anyway, it was just all these things resonated, and I thought his stuff looked very cool. So I got in touch, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to work with you." And so we started talking to him, and then we were like, "Well, we really want to work with Tracy Walker. How can we do that?" He's like, "Sure, put her in touch with me." So basically, they worked together to create kind of like a look. Tracy does the illustrations. We say, okay, here's the beer. This is the style. This is what we have in mind for what we want to kind of get across. This is the name. This is what here are some horrible ideas we have. What have you got? And then they'll come back with, so Tracy will do up, 3 or 4 or 5 designs, and Rob and I will like, oh my God, they're all amazing. How do we pick?
Yeah.
So we'll pick the right illustration that fits the can, and Russell will design it all into the package. And the colors are a big part of it. We started out doing bottles back in the early days. They were like big 600 ml bottles.
The bombers, yep.
Yeah, we only had the 4 beers at the start, so it was all a lot darker. And then when we started to go to cans, it was like, let's open up this palette and have some fun with color. Like, that was always important to us. And yeah, the more seasonals we bring out, the more just gorgeous these colors are. I'm in love with them. I love those 2 cans. It's so exciting.
Yeah, they're so cool. I mean, even just this is like a peach color or something. It's such a really attractive can. This one really stood out. I really like it. That's cool. I don't think I've ever heard of that, like multiple, like bringing in like the illustrator to work with the designer and put together this, unique package. I love that. It's that's really creative. Cool, really cool approach.
Yeah. Thanks. They're
yeah, good for you. I mean, it's good. It's obviously finding a team of people that you creatively click with isn't the easiest thing in the world.
No.
It's a challenge, and to be able to have that and that translate, obviously, this. I guess you do merch. I mean, this is like, for those watching on video, I got the T-shirt with you said it was a wolf? No, coyote. Coyote. So it's a similar thing, just this cool design. I was like, wow, this is really cool. This is like a hand tie-dyed T-shirt I saw on the tag. So it's like super local, really craft, just like the approach to the product, which I love. Yeah, I noticed that immediately. I thought that was really cool, and it just made sense that a brewery would, incorporate that other element into their merch as well, which is super thoughtful. Very cool. So that's cool with the designs. I love that. Now the brewery itself. So obviously you are a brew pub. So you have the kitchen. Have everything. No. Okay. So it's more.
We're not a brew.
Not a brew pub. Okay. I'm sorry. I mean, look in the background. I thought it looked like a kitchen or something. But okay, my bad. So that's cool. But it was intended. So the products are intended to be paired with food themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We opened without no kitchen or anything like that, and I mean, Rob came from a family where his mom, she had a bunch of like restaurants that she opened and cafes and things. Like, she was kind of like a serial food entrepreneur kind of person, and Rob knew how much went into all of that world and the headaches, and he said, you know what, I want to do beer. I just want to do beer. I don't want to do anything with food. So we've always had like cheese boards, and like we'll do like cheese fondue
Cool.
made with beer and baguette and that sort of thing in the winter months. And otherwise, we're like, what you can't see all around me on this side is our brewery. We are a small production brewery with a fairly small tasting room, but now we've had quite a big beer garden open on the other side of this tasting room. Outside, quite a large space. We do have a big property here that we rent, and especially during the pandemic, we really milked that beer garden for all it's worth. And we've opened up we've had friends of ours who own a restaurant opened up they brought in a container and they put in a pizza oven, and so in the summer they're doing pizza out there.
Oh,
so we
sick.
don't do food, but they do. It's awesome.
That's awesome. So it's like a way to offer that to the patrons without you having to deal with it. You're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
You just do your thing.
And plus we're in sort of like the downtown area of Uxbridge, like downtown small heritage,
Of course, yeah.
downtown street kind of thing. We're just on the other side of the train tracks, and we just want people to like go to all the restaurants around here. All the restaurants around here are our customers, so bring their food here. You're welcome to like go drink the beer over there or order some wings in here, and a lot of the places deliver here. So
That's
it's a good community relationship.
I love that. I like that. I was going to ask if you did that. I really like that's something I only really heard of in the last couple of years is breweries having not the restaurant license and just able to bring in food from outside and encouraging that. Like it's great, and it's like it fosters that community. Like you said, you can drink the stuff there or bring it over. I love that. That's awesome. The last couple of years, I don't want to go on about pandemic stuff. We're all kind of over it, I guess, at this point. But like, how did that impact you guys overall? It sounds like you were already packaging products long beforehand, because some breweries I found weren't packaging and they had to like, shit, what do we do? Like, do we have to buy a canning line? Do we have to get mobile canners? The mobile canners are all booked out. Like, you have to figure that out. But if you guys were already in the game, that would have made it a bit easier.
We were already canning. We were using mobile canning, and we just obviously went to like hyperdrive on canning. It was crappy, obviously, like everyone. Suddenly you've got all this keg product that you have to do something with. So some of it we like bottled some of it and put on. I remember one time we had to bottle some beer because we ran out of cans and we had no labels, and we were like, we'll just print them on white paper. We printed black and white, like literally like off our printer upstairs, and slapped them on and said, here you go, folks, we don't have labels, we need you to buy this beer. So anyway,
whatever works.
Pandemic was so we did actually just buy a canning line,
nice.
Which we haven't dismantled. It's sitting in a crate right now, and we're gonna be putting it into place next week. So that definitely kind of sped that up, like just seeing how much you spend on mobile canning, and let's invest that here instead. So so that canning has definitely picked up. The biggest thing for us was the loss of community. I mean, the loss of our growth trajectory altogether. It changed how we do business, and we were just at that point where we're like, ooh, we're taking off and we're getting out there, and then LCBO's like, please don't call the stores or email them or visit.
Okay.
While you're trying to sell your product. So that was really challenging.
Wow.
But for the biggest thing, like all of us here really thrive on just the people in this tasting room. It's after hours, everyone's gone. But, when it's full of life, it's full of people. We've got local art on the walls. We often have local music. This is like what the day-to-day, what really keeps us excited, just the people around. And that was super heartbreaking when, all that was shut down. And so even though we got this great flush of excitement, or a great flush of community support, I guess, in the early months when people were like, we're just going to buy your cans by the case and keep you going. It was wonderful. But over 2 years, that level of excitement is hard to sustain. And without the in-person interaction, it's just not the same, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. And I guess the open shut type of thing. So, inconsistent with that. So at first people are excited, like you said, and then, maybe they realize that people were drinking too much. I know everyone kind of fell into that trap early on, and it was interesting. So I guess it is pretty fortunate that you are able. I think we did pretty well as far as Canada is concerned across the board. I don't think we have many closures, but it was not. Oh my gosh, I'm burping. I'm so sorry. Certainly wasn't easy to keep it all up and running. So I mean, I totally feel you. The community. It sounds like you guys are really a hub out there. That's and that's what breweries are for, bringing people together. And and it's one place. I love that. The local art, the local music, the local restaurants and food, like all of that combined into, this one space is more important. I mean, maybe this made people realize just how important breweries are to communities, I guess.
Yeah, because they're really it's about communal tables, and you can easily go to a brewery, not have a lot of money to spend. You can have $15 and have a lovely evening at a brewery and meet people you didn't know before. So it's very accessible. It's very easy. It's not like going out for dinner, right? And we try to I just love that. And we do have people who come in and make friends here. We watch it. It's amazing. I love it. It really is.
Are you back? I keep forgetting where we're all at. I know every province is different. I don't even know what's happening here, to be honest. But are you? What's the situation now? Are you, as of the recording date, are you guys back in action?
Yeah. So as of so we reopened February 1st, I think it was.
Cool.
At a capacity inside. So we've been having people in for the last few weeks, and we've had live music and all kinds of stuff, but it's like half capacity. So as of today, the day we're recording this, we're allowed to have full capacity.
Oh, good.
So for us, full capacity, I don't know if you can see in here, it's like involves standing room, and we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to have people sitting. So we're still kind of operating at sort of half capacity, but it feels so great to have a room full of people. We do Sunday live music and people with their dogs and their babies and the whole thing. So it's been great.
Is the live music the live music will be back on Sunday?
It is, yeah. So we've had it going through February, and it's in the summertime. We do it outside a lot, which is really nice. And we'll probably start doing more like the odd Friday and Saturday evening. But right now we're just kind of like, let's just pace ourselves. And hopefully this is kind of. Yeah, you never know. And it's been a hard time for music artists, and I mean anyone who does small creative things that involve an audience. It's been a very hard time for them. So we're really happy to have them back.
I can imagine. Yeah, I'm starting to I guess because I really feel for you guys. Like, we own a business, we have employees, but it's completely digital, so we didn't really we didn't feel it like you guys did in it. I feel like at this point, like, people are kind of itching for that. I mean, obviously it's that itching for normalcy has been happening the whole time, but I don't know, personally I'm feeling it way more now than I ever did. I was able, because what we do, we're like adjacent to the industry, but we were required, I guess, for this to be a lot of places and stuff, and we have other things that we're doing, so it kind of got a bit exhausting. So it was actually nice to have the break. But now I'm like, all right, let's just get back to it. And so I'm very happy.
It's been a long time.
2 years is much longer than any of us thought it would be, I guess.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
So it did make. Go on, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, fingers crossed. This is kind of. I want our community to be happy and healthy, and kind of get back together. We need to stop being so polarized about everything all the time. It's
facts. I couldn't agree more. It's that's the most annoying part of all of this is that sort of division, polarization, whatever you want to call it, is super frustrating, and it's almost unavoidable in the current climate. So it's something like a brewery is like a great equalizer. Maybe like you're there. You're supposed to be. I don't think I've ever had an argument in a brewery. Like, you're going to just hang out and you're just chatting, you're chilling. It's always a good vibe. Like, so it's I think it's really important that these breweries as a whole, as these community hubs, like, they play a stronger role than I think people give them credit for, as far as bringing people together, keeping the thing going, and getting I like that, the communal tables. Like, I didn't even think about that, but it's bringing it back. But I didn't even think that they would be allowed. So that's cool that it's kind of, you're allowed to do all that stuff. Like, you can have the communal tables, people can kind of sit together, or is there rules against that? Or
yeah, I mean, right now a lot of the people will come in, they'll take up a corner, and then we'll put someone, a couple feet away, but they're on the other end of it, and or they might say, hey, I don't mind. It really depends on the people, and we're whatever the current rules are at the time. Like, we've had a limit on the number of people per table, so like currently our big community tables are split apart. So they're slightly smaller, two slightly smaller communal tables, but we're getting back to it.
Yeah.
My dream is to be back in the summer in the beer garden without having to check people in and seat them.
Yeah,
That'd be
they
fun.
could just walk in, sit down. Is that the vibe out there? You just walk in, sit down, and go to the bar.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the dream.
Ah.
Small little things that give us joy now.
Isn't it though? I couldn't agree more. Like, that sounds like there's something, like, it almost feels as ridiculous word, but it feels like magical almost. Like, wow, I just like those things where it's hot, it's like trees and stuff everywhere, and just vibes. Like, yeah, it's been so long. Like, honestly, like, so freaking long. Like, that does actually sound incredible. So fingers crossed. I mean, we're moving in that direction already.
Yeah.
I guess so. I think we
Yeah,
should be.
fingers crossed.
I think things are supposed to go. No, I can't even remember each province. Like next month, I think in March.
Sorry,
So
what next month?
I think in the next month things get mostly normal, chill as far as the from what I did see, like the reopening rollout. And I think next month things should be basically we're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they know what they're doing. And
yeah. Well, well, let's.
it would sure be nice to be able to, I mean, I'm not going to get into a whole political discussion,
Of course,
but
yeah.
put the money in the hospitals, for God's sakes.
I could
Build
not
up
agree
the
more.
hospitals.
Yep, obviously
Yeah.
that's where it's missing. It's been for a while. That's what I heard after
Yeah.
the fact, that was the main problem. It was set up to fail with all of that stuff for many years back. Particularly here in Quebec, which is, as you would know, even worse, because I'm not from here, so I didn't know what was the system was already kind of whack. So yeah, could not agree more. Well, I'm very glad that you guys were you got through it. You're on the other side of it, hopefully, and we just onwards and upwards from here, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
definitely was not easy all the way through.
No,
Like,
I can imagine.
no,
Did-
not easy.
Did you have to let go of? Oh, sorry. Tiff just turned on the TV and was going to the headphones.
No, just hit the remote.
Oh, hit the wrong button. Okay, sorry. What was I going to say? So at least you made it through. I was going to say, with the staff situation, were you able to keep most people on?
Yeah, so we have kept our staff. I mean, we've been very lucky that we really do have amazing people. They're a very talented, funny, empathetic, like, bunch, but all very different people. We're very lucky to have good people. We, in the very, very, very earliest days, everybody was like, I just need to not work for a few weeks and figure this out. So everybody was kind of like on a timeout, and Rob and I were the only ones working front of house. So we actually set up. It's funny. So what you see behind me turned into like mission control, selling beer out the door thing. It was so weird. I brought my office downstairs.
Yeah.
We had our dog down there. There was nothing else. We were like going to get lunch and like wiping everything before we ate. It was just a freaky time, right?
Yeah.
Bleaching everything. We set up a conveyor belt out the big garage door, and because then everything was about touching, right?
Yes.
Like, so so we would like people would come by, they'd order their beer, and then they'd come to do the pickup, and we would put it in a bin, we would roll it down the conveyor belt. It was all fun, right?
Wow.
It was just for fun. And they'd pick it up at the other end and from their car and drive off. So it became a bit
That's
of
cool.
a thing. Everybody was like Instagramming it. It was hilarious. We were having fun with it, but it was just Rob and me working in this room with the door opening and closing in March and April when it was freezing. So we were wearing coats all day. Anyway, very weird times. Anyway, but our staff did come back like slowly after that. They started to come back and help us in doing that, and then we brought people back to do deliveries, and everybody made their way back, when they were comfortable, and it's been great. We have a really solid team. Most of our employees have been with us for, almost from the beginning.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're lucky.
That's very, very cool. I did, you know what, like, I know we won't go on about it, but I really appreciate the creativity with stuff like that. That this whole situation forced people to be super creative, so you made this fun, conveyor belt thing that made people want to talk about it more, which essentially was marketing, but you guys just trying to make it chill and, like, a bit more easy on everybody, on yourselves and on your customers.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah,
that's,
exactly.
I don't know, that's kind of something, you know, beautiful in that, I guess. That's, you know, you can look back and be like, hey, that was actually kind of cool, and we were forced into that, but we came up with something in a great way to make it work. And not only make it work, but make it, I was going to say better. It's not better, but it's the best of the best you could possibly make it, rather than just this little drab and all the, what do you call, plexiglass and all that stuff. Like, you made it fun.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know. I applaud that creativity, and I think that was, you know, it's something that the beer community definitely shined a lot in that situation, because you're a creative industry to begin with. You know, you guys are all creative, you know, whether you're in the brewing side, the front side, whatever it might be. Like, it's all a creative endeavor. So to do that was very cool to see. So hopefully that's the back of it. We can wrap this shit up. Jesus, and we're done.
Wrap it up.
Oof.
I'm ready.
Yeah, seriously. Do you guys do many like collaborations or anything like that? Have you worked with like many other breweries, or are you kind of more of a self-contained?
Yeah, we've done a few. Not very recently. Yeah, nothing like super noteworthy right now, but
That's cool. Just curious if you do that, because it sounds like obviously you got your thing going, and it might not be always like, not all breweries do collabs, and it's like a, you know, it's obviously it's a marketing tactic primarily, and a bit of a community building thing, but
yeah,
being
but
that
we
like
did,
go.
we've done some stuff with like local producers. We have really good friends who do bean to bar chocolate,
Cool.
and we've made beers with them. Basically, we made one called
fun.
Bean to Beer.
That's
So
awesome.
we try to pull some cool producers into our projects, and yeah,
That's dope.
and we've done some collabs with other breweries in the past, but nothing really noteworthy now.
That's fair. I like that. I love the producer thing, though. I feel like I'm seeing more of that more often, where people are bringing in, like you said, like chocolate makers, or like just local artisans that do different things, and just bringing that into the beer, whether it's like coffee roasters or something like that. That's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool idea as well. And once again, fostering that community. I was just thinking, because of where you are, being that, like, I don't think I speak to many breweries who are the one in their town. Like, I don't think that happens super often, eh?
Probably not. I mean, when you're in a town of, I think we're 20,000 people, like, I don't know how another brewery
would sustain.
We do have 2 cideries in town that have opened in the last few years, so we've actually made a bit of a loop, you know, for visiting all 3 of them. But and we do work with them as well, like some sort of tourism marketing type stuff with them. Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
so are we a little isolated? Yeah. I guess so.
I see that as a good thing, though. I guess I was thinking, because say if you're another brewery in a different area, like if you have the Uxbridge market on lock, like around there, and obviously the surrounding towns that also don't have breweries. I imagine there's a bunch that don't have breweries. I can see a benefit from another brewery wanting to work with you guys, because if you've got this, you know, that you've been there 6 years almost now, or just past 6, you said, right? 2015, yeah. So 7 this year. So, you know, you've been there 6 years, you're super well known in the area. It would benefit another brewery to have their logo next to you guys. That's all I was thinking. Like, it would be you know, because you have this whole thing. I think there's like something cool about that. It doesn't, you know, usually it's like someone in a city where there's like 100 breweries in that city or something, maybe 100, but you know what I mean. In that city.
Yeah,
so,
we look forward to. Yeah, we'd love to do some more interesting collabs, and like I would love to do something with someone in a whole other part of Canada.
Ooh.
We find somebody really like-minded that we would love to each show off each other's, you know, what we do to our little local market. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I love that. There's and once again, that's something that was kind of taken away from us over the last couple of years. Because say you went to, like you said, you have the OBA award, but like say something like the Canadian Brewing Awards that tends, moves around every year. Like I think it was in Quebec City this year. This year or last year? Last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah.
Like late, like November or something. Was that it?
Yeah, October or November of
yeah
21. Yeah.
Either way, yeah, like things.
We haven't been doing our award submissions because they're really, really pricey, and our beers don't ever really fit the styles.
That's I actually hear that a bunch from people. Like you just have to be making the stuff that happens to be awarded. Like we went to one a few years ago, the Canadian one in Ottawa, and that was super fun. Just because I'd never seen it before, and I knew a lot of the people. This is 2017, so I know way more people now. But at the time, it was like pretty cool to see everyone in this a little more laid back and just getting lit at this the big hall at the award ceremony. The tables have just got beers. It's just never seen anything like it. There's just beer everywhere. It's just insane.
Yeah,
people are just like crushing.
Actually, we were at that one too.
Yeah,
sorry,
that was fun.
We were at the one in Ottawa. That was actually an amazing. Yeah, we went down for the conference and. The award ceremony was fabulous. All the samples were fabulous.
Yeah, that big table at the back. It was like I'd never seen anything like it because it was like literally the length of a conference room with like beers that spaced out like 2 inches apart. It was like all the way down from like coast to coast, like Four Winds in BC and like all these different things. Like it was, and then those little tubs on the table. So like there was all this fire beer on the table that you could just sit there. And you just grab them with whatever all night, and you've got that. I'm like, my goodness. And then they had after parties and stuff. I was like, no.
Yep.
That was fun.
A few after parties. That was really fun. I'm not sure the industry is ever going to be like that again. Do you feel that way? Like,
I think you might be right. Do you think because of the last 2 years, or?
Because of the last 2 years, and I think some of the players have gone off in very odd ways. I don't know. It's not the same.
I think you have a point there because that was like just before the current trendy thing happened. So like this was May 2017, I believe, from memory. So the things kind of did change in the last few years as far as maybe it's a little clickier, and some people think there might be how do I say it? I was gonna just they're not really into that type of situation. They're not really into submitting their beers for that, don't want to be judged or whatever, or their stuff doesn't fit it. And I feel like maybe there's like it's almost like the breweries that do similar things end up being kind of like that little click from what I've seen. And I don't mean click in like a negative way as such, but more like I feel like people kind of move. I see what you mean. People move differently now.
People move differently. There's a lot more breweries that have opened since then. I feel like that was like peak brewery. Like we were at that, it was like a golden moment where the people who were running, it just felt like it was a lot of like-minded people. And then you start to see a few like more places where it's like someone who, just has access to tons of cash, just like, all right, I'm going to cash in. You got some of that happening. You've got some spectacular failures of companies that look like they could never fail. I don't know. Just things have slightly turned. And the pandemic, I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. But I'm not saying it's not going to be fabulous going forward in different ways. I just don't think that particular kind of magic is going to. I just don't feel like that's going to. Yeah.
I never thought about it like that until you just said it. I think you're right though, because it did feel different. There was something. It was a different time back then. It really was. And when I say back then, it's 5 years ago. It's really not that. It wasn't that long ago. But in this world, it's changed so much. Even up until pre-pandemic, even from then until March 2020, it had changed so drastically. I think that
we're the industry. We're not so innocent anymore. We know a lot of things. A lot of things have come to light about So we're just all a little bit more mature and maybe a little jaded about things. But there's so much energy and like we can all feed off of the communities that we serve. We can all feed off like that amazing feeling when we release a new beer and it goes crazy. Like that will propel us to the next exciting thing. Like we'll keep going. I just don't think it's going to be the same, you know?
No, I really agree with you. I think, do you think then that maybe the like we talk about the pendulum and coming back from the pandemic and this sort of like extra need to connect, that I don't know, someone like, I felt like I'd over-connected maybe for too long and been at every festival and done all this stuff. I was exhausted. So I welcomed the break. And then we just kind of got caught up in our own world and whatever. And then now I'm actually starting to miss that. So I wonder if, and I think a lot of people were missing it from the very beginning, like just because I overdid it personally. I wonder if that last 2 years would influence some sort of a resurgence of that time. Not, like you said, it won't be the same way, but maybe the interest in participating in festivals, say, even if it's not an awards, because an awards, I agree with you that they're like, yeah, you know, it's got to be a fit, and not everyone's into them, and that's cool. But you know, maybe more people are interested in festivals and just to be around the people and be around their peers, because that serendipity of meeting someone. Like I read about this for Silicon Valley, like, you know, say if like you worked at Twitter and then you had you bumped into a friend who worked at Facebook at a cafe in San Francisco, and then you're like, hey, what's going on? What are you up to? I'm like, doing this. I'm working on this project, and then all of a sudden, a whole new company's birthed. So we've lost that magic of just bumping into people. And I think that could go for any industry. And I think there was something like to be said about that for beer, for festivals, for conferences, whatever it might be. So I wonder if there will be an enhanced interest in some sort of real life event where you can talk to people again. When, do you think there might be more of an interest in something like that, whatever that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fabulous. And I do think I definitely see that. Obviously, we're all craving people. And I think that's what it is. Like I feel a little isolated where we are as a brewery, just because it's not, like, especially in the winter, not a lot of people coming through town. Like we've got a great community here and we're bumping, but it's not like we're not connecting with other breweries the way we used to in person, going and actually visiting breweries and sitting down and having some pints with other breweries. And that, like, I miss that a lot. So, And then, of course, once we start getting together, all kinds of creative
things happen.
Yeah. So let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope. We're all a little tired and jaded from all this stuff, right? So
I really think so. Yeah. Because like we only did this podcast in person for forever. We started, like I was saying to you earlier, about like the virtual thing, and there's like pros and cons of that. I mean, the pro is that I've never been to Uxbridge, so I would need to have made a trip to go into. Oh, if I'm in Toronto, then I'd be like, oh, I can swing by. I'm pretty close, but it didn't always happen, and sometimes you keep putting it off and off. But then now with this virtual, because I thought I never wanted to do it this way, but then I was left with no choice. And now I feel like it's opened me up to a whole bunch of situations where I'm able to connect with people. I found by trial and error that making sure we're drinking the same thing so we can both have this shared experience, which is the closest thing to sitting next to you right here and actually looking each other in the eyes and having a conversation. That's the best we can do. And this is cool because then I've had people in Vancouver on, and Los Angeles and Australia and all over Florida, all over. And I've loved that. Like, it's been really cool. At the same token, you can't ever beat that in-person flow of conversation. You've got the technology hindering you sometimes, and all these other things. So there's there's definitely two sides to all of it. But that in-person thing when people are sort of connecting is really can't be beat. And I guess if anything, this taught us that. And we can take that lesson and be like, all right, well, we are inherently a social species, and our body, our souls crave this. It is what it is, You can say you're a hermit as much as you like, but probably not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess now we know how much we miss it, and now we can value that so much. So hopefully we're going to better places, better places ahead.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, that's a good episode name. I like that. Better place ahead. Okay, I'll remember that.
And just sorry, go ahead.
No, please, no.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say, do you want to hit? I was gonna try and do a segue. Like, speaking of better places ahead, shall we hit the 3 rocks?
Let's do it.
See how I did that? you mind getting me the next one? Thank you, babe. So this was what we were talking about earlier, yes, so that this is the Flagship IPA. We'll see if we can talk through it. I know we talked through it before, but I'm curious as to the putting it in a box a bit more. Like, because to me it felt like a West Coast, but there was something that wasn't straight West Coast. So I know what you mean in hindsight.
Yeah.
That it was. It's this sort of unique combination. Would you say it's like a combo of like a British old school? I don't want to say necessarily British, but like a really old school, what would be considered an IPA, and then what's known as a modern West Coast, like somewhere between the two?
Yeah, I think it's a hybrid of those two things, because it has, it's dry hopped, it doesn't have that just like pure bitterness at that, like the back end bitterness that just kind of overwhelms the entire experience. There's definitely bitterness there.
There she is. Look at that. Loving it. So if people notice, this is the full wrap can, so this indicates the Flagship. I love that. It's so small. It's such a small detail, but I don't know why. I just love it so much that it's just like just to separate it. So there's just like that consumer knowledge from the beginning that that's what this is. So you can see this being poured here. It's got that nice, how would you describe that? Copper?
Yeah, I would say light copper or deep gold. Yeah.
I love it. Wicked nice microfoam head here. Let's look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at that head, mate. That is stunning. Yeah, see, like I was looking at it. Yeah.
See, that glow is what we always go for. It's like that, the aesthetic is very important to us.
And that's see that straight line with the head. I don't know why. I really appreciate that, because I imagine that's not the easiest thing. Cheers, Joanne. Get that in you.
Cheers.
Oh, it smells great. Yeah, this is delicious. This is just a really great beer. So I'm getting a lot of that caramel malt, but not in like that, not in the British way. It's got a restrained, it's pine and grapefruit I'm looking at the can with the descriptions here. Pine and grapefruit for sure. The bitterness is not overwhelming, exactly as you said. It's very much sort of like a little bit, but it's super drinkable. What's the ABV? 6 something, right? 6 even. Okay. So it's super crushable. Between 6 and 7, personally, is my muddy zone for IPAs. I think, the other bigger ones are great. I love them. But, you can't have volumes of those. You can have a few of these bad boys and,
this is a few of them kind of beer.
Which I appreciate. Yeah, this is it's just super crisp. This is, I think, like you said, even fresher. Oh yeah, this is pretty new. Yeah, great body, nice and crisp. It's got like that crispness, a really great carbonation, but also that kind of like, you can sort of tell like that like meringue almost head, which I appreciate as well, because I don't think that's simple to nail. What are the hops in this one? I think you might have said something before about it.
The main hop is Summit. So Summit is a West Coast. It's kind of a lesser used hop. It's been around for a while, but it definitely, you get that kind of bright, the grapefruit, almost tangerine character to it.
I see that.
We have to be very careful with the hops, because depending on the crop year, or even, so it's basically mostly the crop year. If the hops were picked too late in the season, they tend to bring out sort of like garlic and onion flavors. So we've had, in the past, we've had Summit come in that was totally the wrong flavor profile, and you could taste it immediately, like, oh shit. So it's a tricky hop. It can tip over into unpleasantness, or it can be this beautiful, fresh, citrusy, tangerine, grapefruity thing. So, that's one of the other challenges with Three Rocks. We've really worked hard on this beer over the years.
But I can tell, it's really nice. And once again, I don't have a lot of beers like this. I just think because it doesn't exist very much. I feel like it's literally New England IPAs or West Coasts. And even West Coasts are kind of few and far between, to be honest. So this, when I first had it, it was only like a couple weeks ago. I'm always trying to place it. I don't know why. I guess this is what beer does. You always want to be like, okay, what's the context? What is the brewer aiming to do with this beer? So I'm getting, now as I'm talking, I'm getting that grapefruity pithy bitterness in the back end, but quite mild. It's not by any means overwhelming or too intense or anything. So it's super crushable. You've got it at a great ABV, I think, for this type of beer. Is this the version? Because I feel like it's a little like, I don't want to say hazy, but because it's like my glass, I can tell it's frosted up a bit because it's fresh out the fridge. But is this the more opaque version that you were referring to earlier? Because like obviously you can't see directly through it.
What I can see, that is the classic Three Rocks look. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. It glows, right?
Yeah, this is great. This is a really solid. I can see why that's your flagship. So if people want to get this one, might as well, as we're going, this one is an LCBO SKU as well as obviously at the brewery.
It's so that one's in the LCBO year round, and
Beautiful.
we're going to be pushing it out to more locations. Like it's very much, Durham region, GTA sort of focused right now, but we have distribution. We're going to be getting it out farther as much as possible. So we're pushing that one out. We've got so Monday Night Piper is also in the LCBO year round. So those
Very
two,
cool.
and then we have seasonals going. I think for the size of the brewery that we are and the location that we are, LCBO is kind of required for us. It's just it works in our business model.
Yeah.
So it's the beast we have to play with. So our main goal is to sort of have the beer be in the best possible condition and do everything we can to keep it well kept and well displayed throughout and rotate it quickly.
Yeah, I feel that, and I know that's a challenge with the LCBO because every time I go back to Ontario, I'm always like eyeing off those stores, the ones that don't have the walk-in fridge. And I'm just like, and I see all the IPAs on the Walmart shelf. I'm like, what are you doing, you idiots? Like, this is disrespectful. Like, I know the brewery would be pissed if they saw this. So I know it's like completely out of your control for the most part. You just gotta do what you can. But I think the LCBO is a necessary, I don't say evil, but I think it's good. It's great for brand awareness for the average person who might just want to go there and not have to visit the actual brewery, but they can go there. They can get a whole bunch of stuff. Like you're really going to capture a lot of attention doing that. So, I think it's definitely key, even if it's not obviously the way that the finances stuff work. I don't think it's super optimal for breweries from what I understand, but that sort of brand awareness and their reach is kind of unparalleled, I guess. And you've got quite a few options. Gets you right across the province, which is dope. Have you looked at or dabbled in supermarkets or now, which is the coolest thing and the most unspoken about thing in the pandemic, is the independent bottle shops in Ontario? Like that blew my mind. That shit just went like under the radar. And then I was
which one? Sorry.
The independent bottle shops.
Bottle shops, I know.
It's the coolest thing.
It's so cool, and it's amazing how it slipped right in. There it is. Look at that.
And just on the low, like all of a sudden, all you gotta do is sell some chips, and you're good to go.
Yeah, it is remarkable.
Yeah.
That's a great new venue for selling beer. So will it? I don't know that the volume for us would replace what we can do in the grocery and LCBO spheres. Because we do have to get volume. It's just a financial necessity for the type of business we are and where we're located. But I love bottle shop as like a new way of shopping for beer, and obviously well cared for and well curated collections of beer. It's so much fun. It's lovely that there is more choice. Things are changing, and things will probably hopefully improve more and more. If breweries and the people who love beer kind of take control of things a little bit more, like they seem to be doing, that's gonna be great for the industry.
Yeah, definitely agree. It was just such a much needed addition to the way to purchase beer, because obviously here, as you well know, we've had the specialty dépanneurs in Quebec forever, I imagine. I don't actually know, but you can get shitty beer at the gas stations, and now the supermarkets have some good stuff. But it's been pretty democratic, I guess, as far as where you can get good beer here, except for they had the pre-pandemic. You might remember, say, if you go to a place that's a brew pub and they don't make all of the beer there, they couldn't sell it out of there. Like if they had a food license, maybe it's what it was, and they couldn't sell it out of there. And it was the most ridiculous thing in the world, but now they changed that. So now basically everywhere you can do it, because it was the big bonus of going to Ontario, that I know that every brewery I went to, I could be like, oh, I tried 6 beers. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go grab a whole bunch to go. And then you couldn't here. Like it was just such a silly thing. So it was really nice to see that they changed that here, and they added the indie bottle shops there. So you can just, in one place get a really nice selection of cross-province options, as well as some wines and whatever else that they're offering. I still haven't been to one. I haven't been back to Ontario enough, but I need to check. I just think it's really cool, and it just gives, obviously, in a time when things are tight and things are difficult, and you're trying to get your stuff out there, it gives another revenue stream, another avenue to get your product in front of eyes. And it's heavily curated by that store too, which I think is cool, because if the store chose you, then you're like, all right, it's a good look. No, it's just nice.
It's fantastic. Yep, absolutely. And they'll all be bars now, I guess, because they'll be open little places to create their own little communities around the beer that they curate. So that's wonderful.
So I know that bars were allowed to sell products in lieu of, pouring on site and sitting around. So you're saying that the independent bottle shops are also going to be allowed to become bars?
Well, I think they kind of are bars, and that's why they're able to bottle shop, I think. Yeah, I think
maybe that's a license.
That's how it works. I think that's the loophole that allows it to happen.
No shit. So in Australia, actually, pardon?
It's amazing.
Yeah. I saw, have you been to San Diego or California? Have you been to San Diego at all?
Oh, sorry, you're asking me if I've been there?
Yeah.
I have not been to San Diego. I've been to California.
Overall. Well, the only reason I say that is because I haven't seen this anywhere else, but I went there a few years, like 2017 or something. And my friend who lived there, as soon as we got off the plane, he took us to this place called Bottlecraft, and I'd never seen anything like it before. It was not too big, as big as kind of my living room, maybe a little bigger, a bunch of fridges and some shelves, and they had beer everywhere. They had a little counter that had charcuterie, cheese, some bread and stuff, and then they had a draft list of 20 taps. So you could go and get a pour of a beer, and you walk around in your shop. If you want, you could pay a corkage fee to crack the beer and drink it in the place. So it was just the most incredible experience, particularly coming from Canada, where that thing, good luck letting that happen.
Everything's so locked down. Yeah.
So locked down. So
it's fabulous.
And then I went back home, and I hadn't been to Australia in a minute. And in 2018, I think we went back the following year, and there's a whole bunch of places that do that. You walk in and there's just a whole bunch of fridges, and you go at the back, and then there's a full bar with, liquor and 20 taps. And I was like, what is this world? So is that what that's going to be in those bars? Is that what you're saying?
That's my dream. I mean, that's what I would love to do.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
I think that'd just be so helpful. No. Not here, not there.
Not here, but not where you are, but Toronto
neither.
For sure.
Okay, I think that's just so good. It gets me excited, because it's it just gives the brewery once again such a rough time, and it just gives you a whole other avenue to explore, to reach more consumers, and just to have your stuff out there, particularly for you guys. If you're in the big city, I guess it's a little easier, but when there's, I'd say most breweries are not in the big city. This is probably fair to say. So it gives an opportunity to have this wicked curated thing that you could, once you form relationships with these bars and stuff, and if they're able to purchase kegs, and they can do some pours and stuff, so you could be in the store I'm just thinking as a consumer, it would bring me back to that San Diego thing, where I can just be give me that Second Wedge 3 Rocks right there, and I can just walk around and just buy a whole bunch of just great local produce. And there's something to that I don't know, it's just so damn appealing, particularly after all of this, and just supporting these producers that none of us wanted to see any of these businesses go. Like, I don't know about Uxbridge or Toronto, but half these main streets here, like I'm in the Myland, I guess you're familiar, I'm right next to the mountain in the Myland. So like Saint Laurent, Saint Denis Park is just decimated. I mean, it's not completely over, but there's just so many empty stores, and it's really sad. So like anything to give businesses any sort of leg up or opportunity to keep going. We don't want to have to come back after all this shit, and what do we have left? It's it's not often.
Yeah, let's hope there's a renaissance.
Maybe there will be. Maybe that's what happens. Hard times drives that a whole new level of positivity or creativity or whatever, and some other stuff. I guess we only have bureaucracy to get around, a bit of red tape, but it sounds like it's it's breaking slowly but surely, which is cool. I love that.
I like it.
Yeah, no, this is super cool. I love the idea. But have you, is that something that you're going to be pursuing potentially this year, looking into these alternate things? I imagine it's like a whole, it's not like click your fingers and you're going to be in 17 bottle shops. Like, you do have to they're all individually owned, so it's like one at a time, right? Like, it's like a bar, I guess, no different. Like, you have to reach out to that bar, visit, do a tasting, and it's a whole situation.
Everything. Yeah, get to know them. Yeah, there's a lot that we want to do way more outreach now that things are opening up again, and we're gonna have full team out there, and myself, and we'll definitely be reaching out more and developing more relationships and meeting all the new people doing exciting things. So yeah, it's very exciting. It really is that there's so many new ways to work and share what we do. So yeah, I love that. Very exciting.
No, it's very cool. I want to ask as well, what do you actually, say, between you and Rob, what are your roles now with the brewery? I know that you started as home brewers, and that's what inspired it. I know you mentioned you've had different head brewers and stuff, so I imagine you're probably not mashing in and such.
Yeah. Well,
maybe occasionally.
So neither of us brew. We have two. We have a head brewer and an assistant brewer, and those guys are awesome, and we support them. So Rob is we do everything we can to just support what they're doing so that they can do their best possible work. So Rob is super creative, and he's basically he oversees operations. So he oversees what's going on as far as production and inventory and what's going out the door and what's coming in the door and all of that. He's more like a guy on his feet running around, and he solves a lot of problems and puts out a lot of fires and fixes a lot of broken things, or calls the right person to come and fix the broken thing. That's wrong. I'm definitely the office person. I do all of the, we both do social media together, which is kind of fun. We still do all of our social media ourselves. Rob does photography and I write the stuff. So, because I just came from that world of, I do a lot of writing and stuff. So
love it.
Yeah. And I do all the bloody paperwork. So, and all the HR. All of the the tax stuff, and there's just so we have very different sort of skill sets, but we do complement each other very well. Everything that has to take place at our level is covered off by him or me, and we if something comes up, it's we know it's a Rob thing or a Joanne thing, and off we go. We sit together in the same office and fight like any couple would, but and also love each other a lot and have a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, it's we're a pretty good team.
That's awesome. I think that's good. I work with my partner too, so I really appreciate the fellow couplepreneurs, if that's a thing. Just work, because it's kind of like goals, but not everyone can do it. So it's I think it's a really cool thing if you're able to do it and build this thing together, and particularly when it's an entrepreneurial endeavor, something like a brewery that's time intensive, and you have to be away from home doing stuff, it's like, oh, come home, like, let's get off the computer, stop work. You guys are not really gonna hassle each other like that because you're like, things have to be done. Like,
Yeah, we're both very intensely into it. At basically from the moment we wake up till we go to bed. Luckily for our kids, they're old enough that they've flown the coop and they don't need to be around our 24/7 talking about work. But I mean, we love it. We're very into it all the time. It is our
That's
life,
cool.
and
Yeah.
if we need to get away, we leave town. If we need to actually be a married couple, we leave town. The only way to, Oh, okay, got it.
I forgot about that. Yeah. You know what? That's the biggest problem. That's what we have too. Because after this, we're probably going to keep working, and it's Friday night. Like, it just is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
There's no other. And you have to like make these like times for yourself to like some sort of cutoff or something. It's quite an interesting challenge. And
Yes.
I imagine that for you guys, it would. Obviously, you've got the physical location where you have to be there to do the things, but when you go home, I mean, I know there's going to be things that you can do from home that I imagine you will continue to do from home because you can't help yourself, and
Yeah.
So like it's finding that balance and that cutoff, where you can sort of try. Well, yeah, I guess it's like balance. Maybe that's what this whole thing's taught us too. These last few years, it's like, hey, we have to live too, right? We can't just. The work is important as well, but just trying to find where that is, I guess that's the big challenge of all of this too, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to, like, I personally need to be outdoors and like out in the forest walking or whatever. So we have a dog and I'm out with her for an hour every day, and I need that
great.
for my sanity. So it is great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Definitely need to, whatever you need to do to keep that balance and keep excited by the work. The work is, to me, always exciting. I do love it.
Hey, it's all you can ask for. If you're going to commit yourself, to doing something, your time, your energy, your resources, all of that, like, if you don't love it, particularly in beer, if you don't love it, like, good luck.
I mean, yeah.
Which is
no point.
No, not at all. What do you guys have coming up? What else is going on?
What do we got coming up? We've got, we're going to have a St. Patty's Day show here
Nice.
next month. So, yeah, it's been 2 years. We have like an annual, we have a band that comes up from Toronto, Old Man Flanagan's Ghost. They're an amazing, fun. It's going to be like, seating. It's not going to be a big dance party like it used to be. But last year we did it virtually. So we're excited that we at least get to have people.
That's great.
Yeah. So obviously the beer garden, when that opens, is huge with Foundry Pie Pizza Oven and the whole thing. And the spring months is the start of, we have a farmer's market. Uxbridge Farmer's Market actually operates on our parking lot.
Cool.
So one side of the building, every Sunday, it's the whole farmer's market. And then we've got stuff going on in the beer garden, the music and the pizza. And it's a really fun thing. So yeah, and obviously Reticent Fox, the Orange Peel Pale Ale, going out to LCBO next month.
Love
or
it.
in a couple weeks. That'll be a big one for us. And then we have a summer seasonal high grass also going out to the LCBO. That's our lemongrass ginger saison, which you must try.
Yes.
I'll have to send some to you.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that one's
lemongrass ginger? Oof, yeah, perfect summer beer.
Yeah, it's so refreshing. Yeah, it's lovely.
That's fun.
So yeah, and the new canning line, obviously. So that one we're getting
Yes.
operational. We're training on that March 1st. So that's a big one. And then just total recovery mode and just spreading our wings just a whole lot more. So we want hopefully to make a lot more connections and we have lots of capacity. We're going to grow. So looking forward to that.
That's exciting. That's cool. I love that. That's really, really cool. Before we wrap it up, do you want to crack the Rainmaker just so we can talk about it and show people?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Dave, do you mind
I'm not
grabbing
drinking
the blue one?
entire cans, just so you know.
Oh no! Like I'll do this. I put them to the side, and then I enjoy them afterwards.
I can't drink 4 beers, but yeah, it's okay.
Can you imagine 4 beers in an hour and a half? We would be in. We would be in a lot of. No,
That'd be a good plan. Here's Rainmaker.
Yes.
Another one of our year rounds. So,
tell us about this one.
I love it.
Yeah. 6% porter, right? Thank you.
6% porter.
There she is. Love this one. I had this one the other night, and I personally have been really enjoying a low ABV dark beer at the end of the night. So this was perfect. I think like last week, cracked this bad boy just at the end. It's just like exactly what I need to, and it paired really nice. I think I had some like chocolate. There's some like Australian chocolate that I have at Aussie Pie Shop here, and it's just money with it first because it's sort of light enough, and you know you can have something a little extra sweet with it, and it keeps the. I don't know. I love porters. I think porters are so underrated.
I agree. It's such a nice style. Like stouts, I adore stouts. You know, you take that first sip and you're like, you're. I'm trying to get the words up.
Yeah.
Your mind is blown. It's just such an incredible experience to drink a stout, but you can't necessarily drink like 2 of them in an afternoon.
I mean, you could, but you might not remember it.
You could, but I mean, so this has that slightly lighter body. I mean, it's still a rich beer, but it's a slightly lighter body. Again, it's really good with food. This one's amazing with like summer barbecue. So you get the people who are like, I only drink dark beers in the winter, but no. This is amazing for summer.
Oh yeah, it's great because this is like, I love, once again, you sort of hit the mic. I mean, look at that. You can sort of, like, it's dark, but when you pour it, you can see that it's like a light brown. It's got this beautiful kind of like off-white head. You've really nailed this. Like, your brewers nailed this. Like that. What would you describe that as? Like that head. Is that, it's not meringue, but it's like this like fluffy. I know I'm not really catching.
Pillowy, I guess.
Pillowy.
Yeah, it's got
pillowy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really appreciate that head, and this is super chocolatey, but it's light. And it's super crushable, and it's absolutely a summer. I can second that for sure. I haven't had it in the summer yet, but it's definitely a summer style beer.
Yeah, it really is. It's year round.
Is it a Sorry.
I was just going to say that's why we brew it year round and
brew
offer
it
it
year round. That makes complete sense. Is it an English style porter, or would it be like a I guess the other one's like American style, I guess.
It's American style.
What's the
closer
difference?
To American.
Closer to different. Oh man, it's so nice. I really like
just the hops that you use.
The hops, eh? Okay. What are porter hops?
This one's got. Shoot, I gotta look it up.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't stress. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
But it does not have fuggles, so it's not a British style.
Not a British style. That's the difference. Okay, I'm definitely getting like, it's nice and bitter. There's some like espresso coffee kind of vibes in here. The chocolate it's like more of a stout is like that bitter dark chocolate, but it's kind of almost like restrained dark chocolate, maybe. On this, which is so it's not like, it's there, but it's not sweet, which I think that's the style for. Hey, this could be one you could submit for an award, no? Because isn't this or not quite? You still tweak it too much for it to be a classic porter.
Sorry, I did not catch what you'd said the last little bit there. Something got really noisy in the back here.
That's okay. I noticed it seems to cut off. Is this like something you could submit for an award, being that it's like a...
Yes, actually, yes, it would probably fit into most BJCP award categories for porter. Yes.
Yeah.
This beer actually did win gold at the Ontario Brewing Awards the year that we submitted beers.
There you go. That's awesome. So
we won Best Porter in Ontario. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, we don't like. I won that award. So anyway.
No, this is really nice. This is like, I feel like this is it's got like just the right amount of I'm such a big fan of this style, and this beer is, I feel like this is even better than the last one I had. It's like it's sort of got this just the right amount of everything. For, sometimes you get like the Baltic porters or these other ones that are sort of hectic as stouts, but like I just find myself craving like these sort of 5 to 6% dark beers to wrap up on the night, because I'm not trying, after I've had 2-3 other beers, I'm not trying to have a 8, 9, 10% thing, because it won't really work too well in the morning. But these are, it's just like, it's just what you need for this. It's a great one, and it's cool that it is year round as well. So it's, yeah, definitely not just a winter thing by any means. It's, this one's fantastic. Is this, what's the, obviously if Three Rocks is the biggest selling, is this up there as well, being it's a flagship? So it must be doing pretty, excuse me.
Actually, I mean, it's a harder beer to sell than an IPA just because of the style. You still have a huge chunk of the population. It's like, dark beer, I won't like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so it definitely is a slower seller compared to Three Rocks or our Blonde Ale or any of our seasonals. Not any of our seasonals. It sells very well. It's got again, passionate people who love it, and if you ever didn't have it, it would be like
a big problem.
Tragedy, you know? Yeah, so exactly. So it's not like it's not a style that necessarily appeals to like 90% of the population like an IPA would do. The style itself kind of dictates the audience, but the people who love porters absolutely love this beer. We have certain restaurants that are like, that's their porter on tap, and they're just like going through it like crazy every week. We're dropping off another 50. Like, so it is a good, well-received beer. Yeah, for sure.
Love it. Yeah, not surprised at all. It's great. I just feel like I don't see them enough, really. Like, here and there, but it's just not like a common thing that they're around. So it's, I don't know, to me it's super welcome. I feel like if you people know that, like, because porters were one of those earlier styles. I know we talked about this a little bit before, but like, you know, coming into that, you know, when you're sort of moving up the color wheel, you always have this before you get to a stout, and they're just such a, like, it's a strangely underrated style, really, in my opinion. I feel like, and hopefully they come back a little more. I feel like it could be one of those things that maybe they'll be, you know, get a little bit of trendiness in them again. Maybe they'll, you know, pastry porters or some shit. I haven't seen too many like that, but yeah, no, it's fantastic. This is a really good one. So I feel like we've done like these are great selections that you chose for this one, being that, you know, a Pils, Pale, IPA, and now the porter. So to give people a bit of an idea of the, you know, the flagships versus the seasonals, it's yeah, super cool. I just think it's really cool what you're doing. I'm really glad we connected. It's I'm really happy for you guys. I think what you're doing is great, and, you know, I love that you're owning it out there, and you've been around for so long, and continuing to innovate and do fun things and be true to yourselves. I think that's wonderful and super key. I'm stoked for you guys. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It's been really, really great chatting with you, and I really hope you can come up and see our place in Uxbridge.
I would love to, yes.
It is a beautiful town, and do the trails, and then come out to the brewery and come hang out with us. It'll be really fun.
Oh, we'll keep in touch for sure. I'm definitely trying to, hopefully, we used to be in Toronto like once a month, pre all of this nonsense, because my partner's from there. My brother still lives in Toronto. I lived there first before we moved out here to Montreal. So when we were there more often, I was able to do more things, and because of all this nonsense, we've hardly, you know, probably been there 3 or 4 times in 2 years, which is ridiculous. So definitely planning to get back. So we'll keep in touch, and we'll definitely be out there. But this was super fun chat, Joe, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out, for sharing everything with us. I really appreciate it. Where can everybody find the Second Wedge online?
So we have a website, thesecondwedge.ca.
Nice.
Always include the Second Wedge, all spelled out, .ca. And you know, we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, so it's always at the Second Wedge.
Love it. Perfect. And you do, people can order online and they have it delivered anywhere in Ontario?
Yep, we're shipping, we use Canada Post, so flat rate across Ontario. And if you're in Durham region and York region, we're currently doing home deliveries.
Perfect. I love it. It's amazing. So guys, make sure you hit that up. Oh, do we need to do? We need to take the thumbnail. So I'm going to take a screenshot of here. Do you want to hold up some of the cans, whatever you can fit in your hands? Let's see if I can get 3. I know we can get 3.
Oh, as many as I can fit in my hand?
Oh, I know you got 2 hands. I got 1 because I got to hold the computer. Yeah, you can hold 2. There we go. All right. How about?
Whoa. Okay, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I got to get them right up, and they're all open. So.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful. Well, you got the 2. There you go. You can do that. Perfect. All right, ready?
2.
Glorious. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap this up. Stick around at the end, and we'll finish up. But thank you again, Joanne. Really appreciate it. Everybody, if you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new news drops. Follow us on social media everywhere at BAOS Podcast. We have our episodes, drop every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you subscribe and hit the little 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So you make sure you get that in your feed. Appreciate everyone. Once again, thank you, Joanne. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.